Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be tier ranking every single book that I read this year. So I think I read like somewhere around 180 books, somewhere around. I didn't hit my reading goal, but that's totally okay. It'll end up being better for this video anyways, because I feel like this video is going to take forever to get through all of these books. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's go through the tiers, shall we? Direct your attention to the screen. Don't look at me. Stop looking at me. Look at the screen, okay? We obviously went through a like 5-tiered system, so it's going to be reflecting like the star rating, I guess. The last tier is I'd use you as a fire starter. Listen. Moving on. Number 2 is This Is Me Being Nice. You probably should be in the fire starter section, but I didn't necessarily think you deserved that level of violence, so I made this category for you. Number 3 is I recommend sometimes. I wouldn't recommend this to every single person, but I would generally recommend this book. It's a hit or miss on whether or not I'm going to recommend it to you. You passed the vibe check is number 4. Hey, you're here. You're here, you made it, congratulations. It's not everyone that makes it into this list. It's actually not true. It's really easy to make it to the 4-star. I Will Never Be the Same Again is number 5, and quite literally, I will never be. These books changed me. These books changed how I viewed people, relationships, and I simply love it. Listen, I'm sorry if this is gonna be harsh. I'm going to be harsh though, so if you get your feelings hurt easily, sorry. Anyways, let's just get right into it. Okay, number 1, we have My Best Friend's Exorcism. I'm putting that in a This Is Me Being Nice category. I still actually don't know what was going on with that book. I'm not a huge fan of like the exorcism stories though. Why I read the book, I didn't know I wasn't a fan of them until I read this one. So calm down, okay? Leave me alone. Before the Coffee Gets Cold, I'd put that in the you pass the vibe check territory. I enjoyed it. I was a little confused by it, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And I would recommend this book to most people because I do think a lot of people would enjoy this book. So, rule number 1, you can't date the coach's daughter. I honestly don't remember a ton about this book. I know I read it at like towards the beginning of the year. I would say I would recommend it sometimes because it's a YA book, so it's a little juvenile. But I would recommend it to anybody who wants like a sweet kind of ish romance. Actually, the more that I'm thinking about it, the more that I remember. Anyways, Vicious by, who is it? LJ Shen, I think is who wrote it. I forgot. Vicious, we'll put it at you past the vibe check. Listen, I love a mean man. I love a man who is borderline verbally abusive. That is terrible. Oh my god. Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Listen, I've been thinking about this book since I read it. Not good things. Not good things. I'd probably put it in the I'd recommend sometimes, okay? If you love the whole like what he won't do his dad will vibe, then this book is for you. If not, leave that one alone, pimp. Fucking Bonds. Honestly, This Is Me Being Nice. I really did not care about that book, to be so honest with you. Maybe the rest of the series gets better. Maybe it's just a vibey read. I mean, obviously I know it's a vibey read. It's just one of those like if you get it, you get it. Unfortunately, I did not get it. Yeah, I did not. So that's going in that category. Lock Every Door is you past the vibe check. This book was insane if you have not read it yet. Like, it was insane from start to finish, and I loved that. I love it when I'm confused in my thrillers. Good Girl, Bad Blood, I really did not like. I wouldn't use it as a fire starter, so it's me being nice, but that book, honestly, if you don't know, it's the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy, and that book felt so unnecessary to me. I wish it was a duet, and it was just like the first one and the second one. The second one, or the first one and the third one, I'm sorry. The second one, really, I didn't care about. The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, I'll Never Be the Same Again. I will never look at books. I will never look at military books the same way again, and I will never look at Rebecca Yarros the same way again. That book got me. Okay, I think the last time I cried reading a book prior to that, like I read that book I think somewhere in like August-ish. It was like January the last time that I cried to a book, and that was Magnolia Park. Buy a Thread by Lucy Score, pass the vibe check. There's something about a Lucy Score man that does it for me, and I'm not going to qualify that. I'm not going to explain that in any way that a person would understand, because if you get it, you get it. Tender is the Flesh, I'd recommend sometimes. Honestly, I'm probably not going to recommend it. I don't know. I feel like it's a vegan's wet dream. Somebody said like you can tell a vegan wrote that book, and honestly, real. Okay, a vegan definitely did write that book. And hey, that's okay. I was a vegan. I was a vegan for like almost a year, and then I woke up. Kidding. I love my vegans out there. I love all my vegans out there, okay? Got drunk and saved. Oh, that time I got drunk and saved a demon. Beach Read by Emily Henry. I think we knew where that one was going. I think we did. I love this book. I cried. It was so good. I talked about it in my like my favorites of 2024. Oh, that book was so good. The Ritual. I really liked, I think I rated it actually a 5 stars when I read it, and then after I read it I kept thinking about it and I was like, hey, so why did I like this book again? And I couldn't tell you actually. So the rating has changed. I'm so sorry, but if you read it because of me and you loved it, I literally love that for you. Do not take this with a grain of salt, okay? We know my exodus from dark romance, so that probably has a lot more to do with it. Anyways, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I would say that this book passed the vibe check. It wasn't as good as the third one for me, but I still very much enjoyed it. Like, I had a lot of fun with that book. The Unhoneymooners, I'd recommend sometimes. I did enjoy it, and then like as I've gotten farther away from it, it's just kind of like meh to me. I guess I love Christina Lauren, and I had so much fun while I was reading it, but like it didn't stay with me, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Mile High, we knew this answer. I'm using this as a fire starter. I gave it to my friend and she loved it, and I love that she loved it. This is literally why I'm so happy that I have friends who read, because then I can just give them books like I know that they'll like, that maybe I didn't like, because all of me and my friends have very different reading tastes, so it's perfect. I hated that book. Hollow Heathens, you passed the vibe check. It was great for October. I read it for like my reading spooky books or reading reading darker books for 24 hours. I had a lot of fun with it. I read it in like one sitting. It was kind of crazy. Final Offer, I Will Never Be the Same Again. Sweet Baby Cal is in fact my baby. Oh my gosh, I love that man. My man. Hey, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Flock is getting moved to I Would Use You as a Fire Starter. I got rid of it before I could do that though. Probably should have kept it because we're getting into like the rainy season, so if I lose power, we're gonna Indigo Ridge, I'd recommend sometimes, honestly. I really don't care about that series, and I'm probably not going to keep going just because like while the first book, Indigo Ridge, did give Yellowstone, and I was in a Yellowstone mood heavily when I read this book, I don't really care about it that much now. The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I'd probably say I'd recommend you pass the vibe check, because I'm putting this up next to The Wife Upstairs by Freddie McFadden, because they're both named the same thing. In my opinion, Rachel Hawkins did it better, because like it was, the main character was not more likable, but she was something in that book. I loved it. Anyways, continuing on. Finale is I Will Never Be the Same Again. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I'd say you passed the vibe check. It wasn't necessarily like a 5 star. I don't remember what I rated it. I quite literally don't remember what I rated any of these books, by the way. I think we've gone over this, but like I just wanted to reiterate that. I don't remember what my ratings were, so I'm not going to be consistent with that, so don't expect me to. I'm a new person. I'm different than I was 2 months ago. One by One by Freddie McFadden. Honestly, this is me being nice, because what was that? I was really confused by that book. I was not my favorite. Her Soul to Take, I'd probably use you as a fire starter. It's nothing serious. Listen, I don't hate this book, but I also like would never read it again nor touch the rest of the series. Gothic Hannah, I'd recommend sometimes. I've had this whole spiel before where I talked about like if you really loved Gothic Hannah and you have not read Nocticadia, which is also going to be on this list somewhere. Read Nocticadia, because that one did it so much better. Bunny, I don't think I'll never be the same again, but I will say you passed the vibe check, but it's more like you passed the vibe check kind of deal, because how did you make it up there? Honestly, because I had more questions than answers for that book, but I would read it again. So it's weird. I don't know. Addicted for Now by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'm gonna have to say probably you passed the vibe check. I liked it. I liked the first 2 books. Addicted for Now was good, but not great. Still Beating Will Never Be the Same Again, because I'm never gonna read it again. Hey, don't play with me like that. That book was horrible. Not horrible. I just mean like the book was really hard to read. It's not for the faint of heart, to be so honest with you. A Curse for True Love. There's one line in particular that I'm thinking about for this book, And I'm thinking like it has to go to I Will Never Be the Same Again because of this one line. I think I rated it like a 4.5 stars actually on Goodreads, but since I read it, I have not been able to stop thinking about it. So I'm moving it up. I'm making it I'm making an executive decision. Hey, English. Magnolia Inn, I'd recommend sometimes. I wouldn't recommend that to everybody because it's not going to be everybody's like cup of tea, but it was a really cute, like fun little summary read. So I would recommend that sometimes. Once Upon a Broken Heart, you passed the vibe check. I enjoyed it. I loved Jax. I don't really think there's anything else to say for that. Rock, Paper, Scissors, You Will Never Be the Same Again. She single-handedly changed my view on thrillers, to be so honest with you. So I have to give her credit. Beg, Borrow, and Steal, I'd recommend sometimes because I know that's not going to be everybody's thing, but it's my thing. It's just like a fun little like murder mystery. I loved it. Mr. Wrong Number, I'd recommend sometimes. Yet again, no, you passed the vibe check. I'd say you passed the vibe check because it did. It did. It passed the vibe check. The Ballad of Never After also passed the vibe check. There's so many 4 stars. I read a lot of 4 stars this year. Better Than the Movies didn't change me, but I will say it passed the vibe check. I love a good Lauren Painter. I love a good Lynn Painter book. I love that woman. Satan's Affair I'd use as a fire starter simply because I didn't understand it, and also like we know I'm not a dark romance girly. I feel like most of the dark romance is going to be in the This Is Me Being Nice, and I'd use you as a fire starter. I'm sorry, it's not me. I really tried it this year. I gave it the good old college shot. Yeah. As Good as Dead is going to the I'll Never Be the Same category. I loved that book. I know so many people did not like it, but I loved it. It was so good. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, I Will Never Be the Same. And that's that. Once More with Feeling is going to I'd use you as a fire starter. Listen, I DNF'd that book, so I feel very comfortable using it as a fire starter. Also, I paid my own money for it, so like, before you Wretched, I'd recommend sometimes. I don't think that book is going to be for everybody. Emily McIntyre is consistently the one person that will get me to read like dark romance and not hate it all the time. And I feel like that's a really big compliment, given like how I feel about dark romance books now. A Not So Me Cute passed the vibe check. I've talked about these books before. I love anything Megan Quinn, so most of hers are going to be in that category. I'm just going to let you know right now. Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. Again, Frida, I don't understand what you're doing, but like, it's not good all the time. Like, it's not great all the time. Lovely Bad Things, I'd use you as a fire starter. I also, like, I think I enjoyed it in the moment, but then after I finished it, I was like, what did I just read? You know what I mean? You ever get to, like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. So Not Meant to Be is you pass the vibe check. Again, it's a Megan Quinn. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I need you to not judge me when I do this, okay? Are you judging me? I'm not moving it. Please don't judge me. Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted to Love Potion at a Werewolf. This is going in the you passed the vibe check section because while I did enjoy it, it was not my favorite of the trilogy. So it has to go there. I'm not a huge like werewolf person. So The Veil by Rachel Hawkins, I'd recommend sometimes, to be honest with you. Like, I enjoyed it, but that is not going to be everyone's cup of tea because it was weird. I haven't read Daisy Jones and the Six, but I feel like if Daisy Jones and the Six was a thriller, I feel like it would give The Villa. Does that make sense? I don't know. If you've read both, tell me if I hit the nail on the head. Scarred, I would absolutely use as a fire starter. I hated that book with a visceral, burning passion. Actually, I shouldn't say hated. I was so indifferent to that book, it borderlined dislike. I feel like that's a better way of putting it, because I wasn't like that into it. I DNF'd the Paris apartment. I'm going to put it in the This Is Me Being Nice simply because there is a chance that I'll read it again and I might enjoy it reading it the second time. All the Dangerous Things, I'd recommend it sometimes. Not all the time, but I'd recommend it sometimes. How the Grump Saved Christmas, I'd recommend sometimes again. It was just a cute like little Hallmarky kind of vibe. Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. I'm going to put it in the This Is Me Being Nice category because genuinely, what do you mean y'all are out of high school and still messing with high schoolers? It's giving Ash Trevino. Are y'all on that side of TikTok? Please tell me that did not. Twisted, I recommend sometimes. It was not my favorite book in the Never After series. That still is going to be hooked, unfortunately. A Long Time Coming passed the vibe check. That it did. Baggage Claim by Juliana Smith. I'm putting that in the you pass the vibe check territory because it was really cute, and I actually been thinking about it quite a bit. I love that book. The Last Word, I Will Never Be the Same Again. That book scared the crap out of me. Now we're gonna have to start scrolling because there are literally, y'all, there are so many books. Actually, there's not that many left. Pieces of Forever, I'd recommend sometimes. It's a Christian romance, so I obviously wouldn't recommend it to everybody, but to anybody who loves a sweet, like, Christian romance, I would definitely recommend that. Shady Hollow, I'd recommend sometimes. It's a murder mystery about woodland creatures, and I loved it. So Meet Me at the Lake. So I'm gonna put it in the you pass the vibe check territory. We Hide from the Light is going in the you pass the vibe check territory. It was good. I'm waiting for it to be great, you know? Say You Swear, I cried. That's it. Writing Retreat is definitely getting used as a fire starter. I've actually never DNF'd a book quite as quickly as I DNF'd the Writing Retreat. I think I literally got like 4 chapters into that book and I was like, I can't do it. I didn't like any of the characters. And then everybody that like I know and I trust their reading taste, because we have similar reading tastes, they said that they wish they had DNF'd it, or that they did also DNF'd it. So I felt really comfortable DNFing that book. And I did. And I'm trying to sell it. So if you want my, what edition do I have? I have the Book of the Month edition. I'm selling it on my Pango. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, I Will Never Be the Same Again. Because what do you mean you did that to me, Jessa? Because what do you mean that you just did that to me? 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hildebrand is going in the... Honestly, like, I don't really think about it that much, but I do think I would probably start getting into Ellen Hildebrand as the summer, like, every summer, something like that. So, I like it. I like it, Picasso. It was good. It wasn't bad. I was there. Magnolia Parks, we know where that's going. Don't ask me questions that you know the answers to. Hidden Pictures by Jason Rakulak. I'd recommend sometimes, but also like, hey, what did I read? I feel like there's a really fine line for thrillers where like it can either be really good and like the outrageousness of the storyline can just make it like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Or it can feel ridiculous to the point where it's like, and don't get me wrong, like, I loved, like, the Christian representation in the thriller, but at the same time, I don't know, there was something about it that was just giving, like, Accidentally Amy, you passed the vibe check. There's nothing else to say. Heartless Hunter, not a 5-star read, so it's passing the vibe check. My gosh, there's so many 4 stars. 7 Year Slip is passing the vibe check yet again. I feel like, yeah, I read a lot of 4 stars. I feel like I could probably move some of these down though. Should I be mean? Should I be mean? Let's be mean. But I can't actually, because all of these like definitely did pass the vibe check. You know what? No, I'm gonna move Accidentally Amy down to I'd recommend sometimes. I feel like that feels more right to me. Magnolia Parks, I'm gonna have to do this. She is getting moved up here. Powerless, I'd recommend sometimes. Yeah, she passed the vibe check. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brienne. I forgot what her name is, but it's a really good book. It's really cute. Don't Let Her Stay, I'm using as a fire starter because what? Huh? That book still makes me mad, like to this day. It was kind of giving The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, but to a level that like I've never wanted to punt somebody more. And honestly, I stand by that. Crossed by Emily McIntyre is going in the I'd use you as a fire starter. That book made me so uncomfy. It was ridiculous. Where I Belong is also getting used as a fire starter because I've never met 2 hornier characters that I didn't care about. So, Second Chance Vacation. I loved this book. It wasn't a 4-star read though. I'd recommend it sometimes. I did really enjoy it though. Like that was good. Next of Kin passed the vibe check. It probably should be in the 5-star ring actually, so we're gonna move that up. A Very Bossy Millionaire, I'd probably put those here just because I've read like so many other romances this year and they were 10 times better, so I'm gonna have to put those there. Betting on You was actually one of my favorite YA reads of the year, so we're putting her in the I'll Never Be the Same Again category. Oh my god, there's still so many books. Y'all wanted this, okay? Things We Left Behind is also going in the 5-star category because Sloane and Lucian. God, inject that book into my veins, please. Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human. Mind you, I don't have to explain myself to you. Kiss and Don't Tell, that's getting put in the you'd pass the vibe check, because if you love a good hockey romance, that's kind of insta-lovey. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily it was kind of insta-lovey. Who am I kidding? It was good though. I enjoyed it. The Barren Fields, great Christian apocalyptic kind of thriller. Loved that. Ward D was one of my favorite Freddie McFadden books, but she's passing the vibe check. The Fury by Alex McAdiley's also passed the vibe check. That one was the most interesting one that I read by him, but it was really good. It was really good. Weak Side, I honestly do not remember quite literally anything about that book other than like I was saying ill for a good majority of that book. The Coworker I really liked, actually. I really enjoyed that, and I feel like I don't understand why people hated that book so much, because I remember when it first came out, a lot of people came out throwing tomatoes at it, and I loved it. And I've talked about this before because like one of the main characters really reminded me of a character that I loved from a Stephen King book, and I think that's probably why I enjoyed the book so much, because she like reminded me so much of her. It's a Date Again is I'd recommend sometimes. Geneva Rose I just don't think is necessarily like my favorite author, because I read one of her, well, I didn't even finish The Perfect Marriage. Maybe I'll try it again, but I didn't finish that. And then It's a Date Again was good, but it wasn't anything like crazy to me. Morbidly Yours I'd recommend sometimes. Again, I really did not feel that strongly about this book. The Truth About Horses I'd recommend sometimes. My horse girlies out there, you'd probably enjoy this book. It was good. I enjoyed it. Very Fake Boyfriend, that's going there as well. Out on a Limb, hey, so we've talked about this, and if you don't know, now you know. Leather and Lark is getting used as a fire starter. You know, actually I think I still own that book. So she's definitely getting, I promise you no books are getting harmed in the making of this video or thereafter, okay? Leave me alone now. Death's Obsession I'm using as a fire starter. I did not like that book. I'm sorry. If you liked it, I love that for you. Not for me. Nocticadia is getting put up here. Don't you worry. She's getting put up there. Pass the vibe check. Yeah. I liked Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I don't know why everybody was like so judgmental of that book, but I really did like it. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. I'd recommend it to some people because it was giving more like spy than anything else. Like it wasn't giving thriller. Magnolia Parks, or technically it's Daisy Hates actually. There's so many books on this list. How do y'all do this? Swift and Settled by Lila Sage. I'd recommend sometimes. I enjoyed it. It was. I actually think I liked that more than Done and Dusted. It's not something that I would do like all the time. A Very Wicked Arrangement is getting there. Listen, okay, if you know me, you've heard me talk about Bride before. She was in fact a 5-star, and if you talk to me about it, don't. Simply don't. Bridesmaid for Hire, she passed the vibe check. That book was hilarious. The Teacher. So we're moving right past that. I hated that book, My Dark Desire. It's my guilty pleasure, okay? It's my guilty pleasure. Happily Never After is getting moved up there. I just love Lynn Painter. Listen. I know what I like, and I like what I like. Leave me alone. Butcher and Blackbird, I'd recommend it sometimes. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. I did enjoy it, but I'm not recommending that book to everybody. I'm so sorry. All right, so then we have This Summer Will Be Different. This is the one that I really did not vibe with out of the Carly Fortune books. Summer Romance, however, she really is that girl, so we're putting her up there. She really is that girl, and nobody can tell me anything. Night Shift, this is me being nice, honestly. Look, if you love just like a horny college basketball romance, go for it. That's it. That is your vibe. It was not my vibe. Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I'm probably putting that up here. Yeah, he passed the vibe check. I did enjoy it. It reminded me of a Stephen King book, which is, I think, why I liked it so much. Chase Our Forever is, she passed the vibe check, actually. She passed. Single Dad Romance will get it for me, always. Listen, I DNF'd Grimstone, so I'm putting it here. Maybe I'll try to read it again. It just, like, started off real horny. And listen, there's no issue with that. It's just no, I need a little bit of like wine and dine first. A Novel Love Story I'm using as a fire starter. That book was so boring to me. the fire that I would get from using that book as a fire starter would be more interesting to me. I'm sorry. The Spell Shop passed the vibe check. I like that book. Ignore that. That was the only picture that showed up. So anyways, The Coven I'm using as a fire starter. No, absolutely not. Paradise Problem, I'd recommend sometimes. People were really confused that I did not enjoy The Paradise Problem, and I've said this before. I read that one right after I read Bridesmaids for Hire, and they're essentially the same book. So after reading this Bridesmaid for Hire the second time, I was like, I'm done. I don't care about this anymore. The Love of My Afterlife, she passed the vibe check. She was really good. That was like one of the more interesting books that I'd read this year, and more outside of like my comfort zone. So I enjoyed that. The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren, I'd recommend sometimes. That was like whenever, I guess, Audible or Kindle Unlimited was like coming out with a bunch of new authors, not new authors, but like a bunch of authors were writing mini little like stories so that you could listen to the audiobook for. That's what that was. That was one of, I guess, the books on there. And I liked it. She was interesting. She was cool. Taming Seraphine, this is me being nice. Because looking back now, things on that book made me mad uncomfy. You know what I mean? I don't know. A Groom of One's Own passed the vibe check. She was really cute. Temporary Truce, I'd recommend sometimes. It was just like a good, fun little like mafia romance. Actually, same thing with Wolfmate. It's a shifter romance. It was fun. Filthy Deal, I'm also recommending sometimes. That was another, not mafia romance, I would say, but more like, I don't even know how to, like, rich people romance, but like add a little bit of drama, I guess. Not like Gossip Girl drama, like Empire drama, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. Sleep Tight. Oh, I actually really liked this book. We're moving her up to the past the vibe check section. Wow, my biggest ratings were, I guess, a 4 and a 3 being like my biggest ranking sections. Not that bad, to be honest with you. Beautiful Betrayal, we're moving her to the I'd recommend sometimes yet again. That's the same series as The Filthy Deal. The Very First Night by Nicole Ryan, I'd recommend sometimes. I liked that. That was really fun. It's not a time travel romance, but like it has time travel in it. I enjoyed it. Naked Truth, I'd also recommend sometimes. She was a 3-star. Christmas Tree Farm, I'm using as a fire starter. Actually, no, I'm using the pages as a fire starter, but I'm taking the cover and I'm like putting filler blank pages in, and I'm putting that on my shelf because I hated those characters. Hidden Games, I'd recommend sometimes. That was fun. It's just like a college romance, like with a lot of drama. It kind of honestly reminded me of like Switched at Birth without the Switched at Birth aspect. Don't try to make it make sense because it doesn't. Pursuit of Innocence, I'd recommend sometimes. It was good. The audiobook was actually pretty good. I liked the audiobook. The Boyfriend, I passed the vibe check. Frida redeemed herself with that one. I actually really liked it. I don't care what you thought about it. No, I'm so kidding. I'm kidding. Please tell me what you thought about it. Was it good? Did you like it? Let me know. Is it okay if my name's Rupert? Let me know. Crush My Love, Nina Verona passed the vibe check. That was just a fun, like, little, not dark romance, but like kind of mean it's not a bully romance. I don't know. A very un-Shakespeare romance I'd recommend sometimes. I liked it. Don't Call Me Daddy. And don't talk to me about it either. Dirty Score was good. Dirty Score passed the vibe check. I Do With You also passed the vibe check. I love a good like I don't need anybody to know that I'm here. I'm a rock star. The Accidental Dating Experiment was cute. I'd recommend that sometimes as well. But How My Neighbor Stole Christmas passed the vibe check. She was cutie. I love Megan Quinn. Mostly Loathing You was actually really good. She passed the vibe check too. The Problem with Players, I'd recommend. No, I actually enjoyed that one more than I'd recommend it sometimes. She passed the vibe check. I'd recommend that to most people. King of Frost and Shadows, this one was fun actually. Like it wasn't like crazy serious, but it was fun. I would read that again. Same thing with Deadly Occupants actually. She passed the vibe check. If you don't know, if you haven't read Mads' book, I love Mads. She's so sweet. She's so cute. If you have not read Deadly Occupants or her like fantasy series, you should. It was really good. King of Wrath. This is me being nice. Listen, I have been feeling kind of like guilty about this one, so maybe I'll reread it to see if like my taste has changed since I read it. I don't think it has, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. I forgot what the name of this one is, but we're putting it here. I can't remember what the first word of that is. Visions and Shadows. I actually recently read it, and it was really good. It was pretty good. We're putting it up there. The Christmas Party. If this had a physical form, I'm using it as a fire starter. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure out a way. Assistant to the Villain. I also DNF'd this year. Maybe I'll go back and try it again. I don't see me trying it again though. I don't know. Hollowed Games by Sian Crawford was the last book that I read actually, and she was good. She was really good. I had fun with her. She was good. She was giving like Serpent and the Wings of Night, so I would do that. I didn't finish Keeping 13, so I don't know why that's on this list, but I'm like halfway through it, so I'm just gonna put You Passed the Vibe Check because it doesn't deserve that 5-star yet because I haven't finished it. So just know, yeah. Ice Planet Barbarians I'm using as a fire starter. Saving Noah's going here only because I actually couldn't recommend this book to anyone because of the way that it made me feel. It made me feel really icky inside, which I know is probably the point, but like it made me feel icky inside to the point where it's like I can't, you know what I mean? I can't. I'd recommend In a Holidays to most people, but she wasn't quite a 4-star. The Ex, to be honest with you, I remember very little about, so we're putting her here. That's actually me being nice. Off to the Races was really good. I really liked Billy, I think was her name. She passed the vibe check. Want to Know a Secret? I don't know what was going on there. False Front, I'd recommend sometimes. Twisted Games passed the vibe check. I liked the Princess Diaries vibe to it, so we'll put her there. Hey, Exodus, where's my match? The Match passed the vibe check. She was really cute. Legendary, she's and then I'll Never Be the Same category. Don't even worry about it. Snapshots was actually pretty interesting. That book was interesting. I'd recommend it sometimes. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo I'm putting here because I didn't finish it and I also didn't hate it, so we're putting her there. The Devil Wears Black I'd recommend sometimes. That book was like that book was good, but it wasn't great. Like I didn't feel like super strongly about it. The Perfect Son I did actually kind of enjoy. I'd recommend that sometimes. Frida, she did something with that. The Devil Wears Scrubs I'm using as a fire starter because I don't understand that. And probably, no, Suicide Med is going here. It was formerly Suicide Med. It is now Dead Med for those that are like wondering. I read it as Suicide Med before she like changed the name, and I think she also rewrote parts of it. I have not read the rewritten part, but the one that I have here is what? That's how I feel about that. The Do-Over passed the vibe check. That was such a cute like little Valentine's Day, Groundhog Day romance. Loved that. The Locked Door I'd recommend sometimes. I've read storylines that are better, so it doesn't get any higher than that. The Bastard I'd recommend sometimes. Stephen King's Carrie I'd recommend to select people. You have to like horror or be a diehard Stephen King fan, I feel like, to really enjoy that one, because just like the way that it was written was interesting, and it was not necessarily like, I don't know, I don't think it would be for everybody. I don't know why I had to like explain that so in depth. Brain Damage I'm putting in the You Passed the Vibe check because that book was actually really interesting. I liked the medical side of it. No Exit she also passed the vibe check. Yeah, if you want a good like wintry thriller, that's the one for you. Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter will never be the same, and I'm also I can't say I'm never rereading it because I would actually like to reread it because I'm, you know, a true crime girly, but that one is definitely for the true crime girlies. So if you're not, I don't know if you would like that book. The Silent Patient passed the vibe check. She was not necessarily in the 5-star category, but she also she's like 4.75. Killer Instinct also passed the vibe check. I just realized that The Maidens isn't in here, and I read that book a couple of months ago, so we're putting The Maidens in the You Passed the Vibe check thing as well, because I don't I don't know where that book went. But that is my ratings. I'll like scroll so you guys can see. I feel like that's pretty accurate of how I feel about all these books. I'm happy that the Firestarter section is not bigger than it is. It probably could be, actually. I think there were a couple of books that like I DNF'd that I didn't end up logging on my Goodreads. So these are just all the books that were on my Goodreads. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to see any other kinds of videos from me, reading vlogs, whatever, or if you have like a specific video request, please drop those in the comments so I know like what to film and kind of like what you guys want to see more of. Other than that, that is going to be it. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching. I want to know how your day is going. Please let me know. Let's talk in the comments. Yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. If you guys want to see my face on any other place on the internet, as always, go ahead, check the description. Everything is in there. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.